And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Eludes with a devilish grin on his face for obvious reasons. Let me set the stage as to what's on the screen in front of you here. I was doing research because I wanted to do a video in my GM where I filled the NBA with only people with criminal convictions. The goal being to start a longest yard type situation. One of the teams was going to be all quote-unquote guards, starring Gordon Hayward. Anyways, I'll get to that eventually at some point, but I stumbled across one of the greatest resources I never knew existed up until this point, the NBA Crime Library. Yes, a complete database of all NBA arrests for the entirety of the league's history. Phenomenally. That's all I can say. I don't know what word I was trying to get out right there, but oh my God, I don't know why I'm talking with my hands also, but it is what it is. We got a Mugshot Mosaic. We have it sorted by decade, by year, by team, by crime. And this has everything, man. This is the Mugshot Mosaic right here. No, dude, this is dope. All right. So we're going to go through some of the better crimes here. I haven't looked completely through this website, but I have done a little bit of a kind of go over here. And we have a variety of different crimes. Now, a couple rules here before we go into these. Going to go ahead and skip over certain crimes like SA, you know, anything to do with sexual assault. Going to go ahead and skip right over that. That's not exactly something I would like to talk about, so we're going to go ahead and skip that. Also, anything in regards to like domestic battery, we're going to go ahead and skip over that as well. Not to say those crimes don't need to be made public, but you can go ahead and peruse the NBA Crime Library at nbacrimelibrary.com and go look at those yourself. So we're going to start with the miscellaneous and other category, just because, and of course, dude, there's an ad for Karl Malone on the NBA Crime Library. That cannot be an accident. It just can't. And it's Lakers Karl Malone. No way, dude. J.R. Smith, criminal mischief. I remember this one. Smith turned himself in to police to face charges that he broke the cell phone of a fan who tried to take video of him in the middle of the night outside a Manhattan pizzeria. Now, this occurred in July of 2018. I remember this occurring. I definitely do. The man alleged Smith responded by snatching away his phone and heaving it across 10th Avenue into a construction zone, breaking the screen. Hysterical. So I remember this occurring. Yeah, apparently this fan, I think he was younger, he tried to Snapchat that he saw JR, and JR was not having any of that. Just took his phone, just chucked it, right, into a construction zone, which is hysterical. Nick Young, delaying an investigation. Now, this one's not exactly as funny as you would assume. He just got pulled over, and he just didn't want to obey the police's orders, which, like, he was pulled over by the LAPD. Understandable. I'm sure they were being extra feisty, as they typically do. Yeah, so he just became upset and caused a delay. That's it. Mike Scott, dude. Do you guys remember Mike Scott? Mike Scott squared up with a bunch of Philadelphia Eagles fans outside of a Washington game one time. I think that was back in like 2018. I just remember that because he was wearing plaid pants and a Sean Taylor jersey and was throwing hands with like out-of-shape white guys who own construction companies. And this was in broad daylight, and it was phenomenal. I'm not going to lie. Kind of liked Mike Scott after that. That was pretty cool. Scott was riding in a car with his brother when police attempted to pull him over, following too closely to other vehicles. Okay. The vehicle failed to stop and accelerated to 98 miles per hour before eventually pulling over after a 2-mile pursuit. Police found over an ounce of marijuana and 10.9 grams of MDMA. Scott was arrested and charged with felony drug possession. Now, this occurred on July 30th, 2015, right? What's crazy about that is Mike Scott played in the league after that. And if you know anything about the history of the league and, you know, the cocaine purges of the early 80s, late 70s, kind of mid 80s, basically from like 85 to like, I think it was like 78 to like 85 basically was when it was really bad. After 85, it got bad too, but there really wasn't many more people to purge after the whole Len Bias situation. Everybody kind of chilled out a little bit. But if you know any of that history, it's kind of crazy to know that Mike Scott got pulled over for this and then was let back in the league. Typically, unless you were a star caliber player, which Mike Scott, to my knowledge, was never a star caliber player. I mean, excuse me if I'm wrong about that. You were not let back in the league for things like this in the past, so it's kind of crazy to see that he was. But shout out to Mike Scott. Hope he's doing well. Antic. Is it Antic or Antic? I don't know. Was arrested along with Thabocephalosha. No, dude. After interfering with officers outside the 10 AK nightclub in Manhattan. This was following the stabbing of Indiana Pacer Chris Copeland, dude. What a callback, dude. No way. I still don't know who stabbed him, but that's actually kind of crazy, dude. That's nuts. That is nuts. This one's one of my favorites. Charlie Bell is one of my personal favorites. Bell's third arrest of 2011, you heard that right, came when he showed up drunk to the court hearing of his previous arrest in October 2011 DUI. He was also arrested for DUI in February that year, and his wife was arrested in May for allegedly stabbing Bell with a box cutter. Oh, god damn, dude, this dude had a rough 2011. Jesus Christ, man. He got stabbed with a box cutter, had 2 DUIs, showed up drunk to court. Oh, man. Hope he's doing well. That's rough, dude. Dante Cunningham, terroristic threats. I think this is just he was texting a bunch of, like, terrorist threats to his ex-girlfriend, which is pretty not chill. I vaguely remember Dante Cunningham on the just atrocious 2013-2014 Minnesota Timberwolves, a.k.a. the whitest team to ever grace an NBA court outside of, like, 1956. Terrence Jones, after leaving a Portland nightclub. Do you guys remember Terrence Jones? I remember Terrence Jones. Yeah, I thought he was going to be good. He flamed out so fast. Him and Thomas Robinson, I think, were the 2 guys who were, like, supposed to be very good around this time, and they just flamed out. One of them was on the Kings, so it makes sense. After leaving a Portland nightclub, Rockets forward Terrence Jones allegedly yelled, "Wake up," to a homeless man sleeping on the sidewalk, and then stomped violently on his leg. What did this man do to you, Terrence? Why'd you curb stomp this man's leg? He's just trying to take a nap on the sidewalk. Why'd you do that? That's rude. A police sergeant was nearby and witnessed the unprovoked attack. Oh, yeah. This is the face of somebody who knows they fucked up so bad. Vitaly Potapenko. This occurred on July 12th, 2004. This was Seattle Supersonics at this time. Potapenko was denied entry to a Miami Beach club due to being inebriated and refused to leave the scene. Well, that's unfortunate. Matt Barnes. This is the most psychotic mugshot I have ever seen. Specifically from an athlete, but in general, I feel like it's also pretty psychotic in general. Like, look at this man. This man is on demon time. He does not care at all that he's being arrested. Barnes' second career arrest started innocuously enough when he was arrested for an outstanding traffic citation, but quickly escalated to a felony when he threatened a police officer. Okay, Matt Barnes definitely has a place in my league for sure. JR again, he just didn't show up to court. Respect. Kendrick Perkins, while visiting Texas, this occurred in 2011, so I believe he was he on the Thunder in 2011? Yeah, I think he was. That sounds accurate. While visiting Texas during the offseason to host a camp for his foundation. Oh, Kendrick Perkins, Jesus Christ. Remember every time Kendrick Perkins says some dumb shit on TV, especially when he goes off about NBA players, like, wilding out and behaving badly? Just remember this man's been arrested like 4 times for a bunch of dumb shit like this. He went to a nightclub and ended up challenging the club owner to a fight. Once forced outside, he drunkenly continued to yell obscenities until he was placed under arrest. So just remember that. Nate Robinson. Oh, yes. Urinating in public for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is before he signed his glorious tenure with the Chicago Bulls. A few months after the diminutive Robinson, well, that seems rude. You didn't need to go that way, was traded from the Celtics to the Thunder, he decided to enjoy his summer offseason by relieving himself in White Plains, New York, right outside of City Hall. That's fantastic. Carlos Arroyo. Do you guys remember Carlos Arroyo? On his way to practice one morning, Arroyo managed the unusual task of getting arrested for driving too slowly. After he was pulled over for driving suspiciously, cops arrested him for resisting when he refused to cooperate. Well, that seems kind of messed up. I don't think my man really did anything wrong there. He was just driving really slow, and he probably didn't understand what was happening, but, you know, it is what it is. Jason Richardson. Okay. Endangerment, reckless driving, excessive speed, failure to use child seat. Yikes. Richardson was pulled over after being spotted going an astounding 90 in a 35. After being stopped, officers saw his 3-year-old son with him in the back seat without a car seat. In addition to being charged with reckless driving, he was arrested for child endangerment. This is really shortly after the whole Steve Nash, or right before, I believe, the whole Steve Nash incident occurred, where his wife, delivered their child, and then Steve Nash divorced her 2 days later, and the child was obviously not Steve Nash's. And it was speculated for a long period of time that Jason Richardson was actually the real father of that child. And he was traded very shortly after that. But I did not know about this pretty terrible arrest. So it's also possible that maybe this had something to do with it, and I just didn't know this. Or maybe it's both. Joakim Noah. Woo! Marijuana possession. Open container of alcohol. May 25th, 2008. Noah was arrested in Gainesville, Florida. You never want to get arrested in Florida. You don't really want to be in Gainesville, Florida anyway, but you definitely don't want to be arrested there for sure. That's kind of like a bad idea. After officers spotted him drinking alcohol in public. During a search, officers also found some marijuana in his pocket. Leave my man alone, dude. Look at Kwame Brown, dude. Look at this guy. Oh my God. Look at this drip, dude. He looks so mad. After police pulled over Brown's cousin for drunkenly driving the wrong way down a one-way street, Brown approached officers and interfered with their arrest. He became disruptive and was himself arrested for disorderly conduct and interfering with an investigation. This was Brown's third arrest since becoming a pro. Oh no. Not Skip to My Lou Ray for Alston. No. Alston was arrested for misdemeanor public assault in public intoxication after an early morning incident in downtown Houston. After his vehicle was towed, Alston grabbed a parking attendant's arm, shaking and spitting at him. That's dope. Okay. Jamal Tinsley, dude. All right, do you guys remember Jamal Tinsley? That was my boy in NBA Live 05. He was always, him and TJ Ford were for some reason always my point guards. Don't ask me why. I could not really tell you exactly why that was the case. Tinsley, along with Marquise Daniels, that's my boy, dude, were arrested following a bar brawl in Indianapolis. Tinsley and Daniels allegedly punched the bar manager repeatedly in the head, causing a laceration to his forehead and a lost tooth. Another Pacer teammate, Keith McLeod, was reportedly involved but did not face charges. And here's Marquise Daniels. I loved Marquise Daniels. I'm dead serious. I don't know why. He just played some tight defense, dude. He dunked kind of hard. Yeah, Marquise Daniels was tight. Steven Jackson. Criminal recklessness, battery, disorderly conduct, October 11th, 2006. While at an Indianapolis strip club, just don't go to Indianapolis. That's what I'm learning from this. Jackson and several Pacer teammates got into an altercation with another patron. It sounds like they jumped somebody. That's kind of what that sounds like. The fight spilled into the street where Jackson was intentionally hit by a car. Jackson then drew a handgun and fired 5 shots into the air. Police arrived. Wow. I didn't know about that. That's wild. Andre Miller caught one. That's crazy. Maybe due to his style of basketball. I always just thought Andre Miller was like a pure person based on how boring he played the game of basketball. But it would seem that is not the case at all. That is not what occurred. That's kind of interesting. Sometimes you just kind of make up your own things. Wild. Eddie Griffin. No, dude. I forgot about Eddie Griffin. He was listed as a witness. Okay. Griffin was sentenced to 15 days in prison for probation violation. Which is... Wait. He was listed as a witness to a disturbance at a Houston nightclub, which is a violation of his probation because he was consorting with disreputable people. Okay, this is fucked up, dude. This is a really fucked up way to arrest. This man was just chilling, dude. He wasn't even involved. He was just there. That's not cool. Michael Olowokandi. Olowokandi was partying at Tiki Bob's at 3 a.m. in Indianapolis. No, dude. When he was asked to leave, he refused and was shocked twice with a stun gun and taken into custody by responding officers. My man was like, yo, I'm not leaving Tiki Bob's. I'm never leaving Tiki Bob's. Tiki Bob's is the best, dude. I love Tiki Bob's. I truly do. You know what? I want to know. Where exactly was my man not wanting to leave? Let's look up Tiki Bob's Indianapolis. This is the spot. My man said, nah, bro, I refuse to leave this place. This is the spot. This is where he didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave this fucking place Dude, I am deceased. There is no way. Ola Wakandi said, bro, I love the fake palm trees. I will not go home. I live here now. Dude, no way. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is just tiki bar decor. But my man said, I will not leave Tiki Bob's. Also, opening a tiki-themed restaurant in the middle of a wasteland of culture like Indianapolis is very interesting, I must say. That is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Penny Hardaway, no! Following an argument between Hardaway and his girlfriend, she left the house to go sleep in a vehicle outside. Well, that's fucked up, Penny. Why'd you do that? And then he came outside and yelled at her while carrying a gun at his side. Penny. Come on. Zach Randolph. That's my boy right here, dude. Randolph was arrested shortly before midnight after police stopped the car he was driving because it matched the description of an SUV being used by gang members. That seems vaguely racist. Police said Randolph's blood alcohol content was less than half the state's legal limit. Oh, man, you guys... That's whack, dude. Oh, my God. Do you guys remember Vashawn Leonard, dude? I remember Vashawn Leonard. Reckless endangerment. Oh, my God. Was arrested after police were called by a startled neighbor who saw him firing a handgun in the air near her backyard of a suburban area. It turns out Leonard was trying to scare deer out of his yard, but was charged with reckless endangerment and the illegal use of... This man was like, no, dude. These Bambi bitches need to get off of my lawn, and was out there just firing a handgun off in the middle of the night, dude. Hysterical. No way, dude. Samaki Walker. No way. I forgot about him too. Anthony Mason. Inciting a riot, battery on a police officer, and resisting arrest. Franchise. I think it was New Orleans Hornets. I think at that time it might have been Charlotte. I don't remember. While in New Orleans' French Quarter, a group of men, including Mason, was seen in an argument over women in the street with another group. Officers attempted to separate the groups when Mason allegedly hit one of the officers and began rallying the crowd. He was then pepper sprayed and fled into the crowd before eventually being arrested a short time later. Dude, Anthony Mason was absolutely insane. Desean Stevenson again, fighting in a public place. Stevenson set an almost unbreakable record for fastest arrest since becoming a pro, getting arrested on the night of the draft for brawling during a high school basketball game. Within several hours after being drafted 23rd in the first round by the Jazz, Stevenson and as many as 20 others participated in the melee. Wow. Receiving and concealing stolen property. Robert Tractor Trailer. Trailer was arrested after being pulled over driving a car that had been reported stolen. Oh, of course it was Tim Thomas, dude. Tim Thomas has a little bit of a reputation. So he was just driving a car that Tim Thomas drove for a test drive and just didn't return. Oh my God. Dennis Rodman, 1999 Los Angeles Lakers. Now, it's funny that I'm going to bring this up right now because a lot of people will speculate that Rodman was arrested over a 4-month span in 1999, right? And it's possible that Rodman has multiple more championships if he doesn't do these things because he stays with the Lakers potentially, right? Rodman was drunk and causing a disturbance at Newport Beach, California restaurant and refused to leave after being asked by management. So, yeah, 4-month span in late 1999. Now, it's possible that if this doesn't happen, well, at least if like maybe 2 of these don't happen, he stays with the Lakers and probably gets at least 1 or 2 more chips, dude. Here we go. Possession of an illegal cell phone. This occurred in June 28, 1996 for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Ryder was pulled over after a California Highway Patrol officer stopped the Mercedes-Benz he was driving because it had illegally tinted front windows. Then they saw a cloud of marijuana smoke come from the vehicle, and upon searching it, found a cell phone with the serial numbers illegally scratched off. Ryder had been jailed and nearly arrested just 2 weeks earlier. Did not know that. So he had an illegal cell phone with the serial numbers scratched off. Insane, dude. Absolutely insane. So, that's pretty fun. Let's look at some other crimes. Bernard King, by the way, like I had no idea Bernard King had the kind of record that he had. Jesus Christ, dude. Looking through this website, Bernard King was a literal menace. That man should have been locked up, dude. Like the amount of... This one's my favorite. This is the one I wanted to spotlight. Joe Bryant. Name may sound familiar. Cocaine possession, resisting arrest, driving without a license. 2 years before the birth of his famous son, Kobe, Joe Bryant was a 21-year-old rookie playing for the Philadelphia 76ers. After police attempted to pull him over having a busted taillight one evening, he fled, crashing into 3 parked cars. Police searched his sports car and found several bags of cocaine, placing him under arrest. Now, thankfully, this was the 1970s, and honestly, those cops were probably just stoked because they got to keep the cocaine. But Montrezl Harrell, felony drug trafficking. Interesting. He was pulled over in Kentucky for tailgating, and upon approaching the vehicle, officers smelled marijuana. And of course, Harrell admitted to being in possession and produced a small amount of marijuana from his sweatpants. All right, this never works, by the way. I'm going to give them a little bit of what I have, and then they won't find the rest. That strategy quite literally never works. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Officers searched the car, however, this is what often happens, found an additional 3 pounds of marijuana in vacuum-sealed bags in the backseat and arrested Harrell on felony drug trafficking charges. Now, more than likely, he's not drug trafficking. I would like to point this out. Like, more than likely, my man, you can't get weed in North Carolina like that. So he's probably just, stocking up, dude. I don't think. Alex Caruso. Yes, sir. Bulls legend. Caruso was attempting to board a flight in Texas when TSA officials searched his bags and found an herb grinder that contained a small amount of marijuana. Caruso was then arrested for possession of less than 2 ounces of marijuana. Well, that seems like a lot. Maybe don't bring that on the plane, Alex, but it is what it is. Kevin Porter Jr. Marijuana possession and improperly handling a firearm in a vehicle. Kevin. Porter Jr. was arrested after crashing his Mercedes-Benz at 2 a.m. as arriving officers discovered a loaded handgun and marijuana in his vehicle. Charges were eventually dropped the following month. Interesting. Okay. Well. This is my favorite. Carmelo Anthony, dude. A lot of people don't know about this one. While boarding the team plane, agents discovered a small quantity of marijuana in Anthony's backpack. He was cited and released. He blamed it on a friend who borrowed his backpack the previous week, and the charges were automatically dropped. This is also a good one, too. Stoudemire was arrested on marijuana charges after allegedly trying to pass through an airport metal detector in Tucson with almost 1.5 ounces of the drug wrapped in aluminum foil. Oh, no, dude. Oh, no. That's bad. Yes. 4 months prior, Wallace and fellow Blazer Damon Stoudemire were stopped for speeding on the way back from a road game in Seattle. They drove their own car. Awesome. Officers smelled marijuana and used a drug-sniffing dog to search the car and found about 1 gram. That's not exactly the big haul you guys thought it was going to be, huh? Damon Stoudemire was out here, dude. Damon Stoudemire was just smoking so much herb back then. Cliff Robinson, bro, you were 40 years old. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? With this arrest, he officially became the oldest NBA player to ever get arrested. You're never going to have that taken from you, Cliff. No one's going to take that from you. Philadelphia 76ers. All right, where are you, Allen Iverson? Here it is. This is the holy grail of NBA arrests, if I don't say so myself. After a fight with his wife, Iverson threw her out of the house. Now, obviously, he regretted this decision because the next day he barged into the apartment of several acquaintances, brandishing a gun and asking where his wife was. He allegedly threatened 2 men with a gun and was arrested for assault. Can you imagine you're just sitting there, dude? And this occurred July 16, 2002. This is a year, not even a year, 6 months removed, I believe. Was that the 2000-2001 season? So about a year and 6 months, about a year and a half removed from Allen Iverson's MVP campaign. And Allen Iverson just kicks your door open, brandishing a firearm, looking for his wife, and you were very confused. From what I've read about this, the acquaintances in question did not really know Allen Iverson like that. So imagine their surprise. They were obviously aware of his existence and aware that they knew of his wife or something, from what I understand, but they weren't like tight with Allen Iverson, and I don't know if they ever actually met him prior to this. Kind of interesting. But I do have some Scottie Pippen ones that I want to go over before we wrap this video up here. Oh, where is Scottie? Scottie Pippen, arrested twice in the mid-90s. Did not know that. As a Bulls fan, they typically do not talk about this period of Scottie Pippen very often. Specifically this one, obviously, for obvious reasons. One evening, Pippen's car was parked illegally and the officers summoned a tow truck. While preparing the car to be towed, officers noticed a fully loaded .380 caliber semi-automatic pistol near the front seat. Pippen was registered to own the gun, but in Illinois, it is a crime to carry a gun. It's not the case anymore, but I guess at the time. Oh, don't worry. Michael Jordan's in here too. Jordan was pulled over in Lexington, Kentucky for driving his Ferrari 90 miles per hour in a 60 zone. Not the craziest crime, but a crime nonetheless. This is, to my knowledge, the only time Michael Jordan's been arrested in his playing days, at least that I'm aware of. Being Michael Jordan, though, chances are he was arrested quite a bit, and they just really didn't log that stuff down. He subsequently failed to appear to a scheduled court date. You could tell the ego was already through the roof with Michael Jordan. My man's just not appearing to court dates in 89. He's like, yo, I'm the best player in the league. I'm not going to that court date. They can come find me. Now, there's some gambling crimes as well, 3 of them specifically. Isaiah Ryder has one about gambling in public. Ryder was arrested in Oakland on a misdemeanor charge of gambling in public. Police said they saw him throwing dice on a street corner with 8 to 10 other people, 2 of whom allegedly have several bags of marijuana. Well, yeah, you can't. Come on. Nobody's throwing dice sober. That's not fun. This was the second arrest for Ryder in a 3-week span and his third brush with the law in just 6 weeks. Jesus Christ, Isaiah Ryder. My God. So to wrap this video up, these are the 2 oldest on the entire thing. Ralph Beard, Alex Groza. These 2 were arrested in October of 1951 for a massive point shaving scandal 2 years earlier while at the University of Kentucky. This was huge news, and I've actually read about this one for sure. Basically, they were paid $500 each, which was like quite a bit at the time, a couple thousand, I think. If you do today's money, I think it was like a little bit more than that. It is what it is. I'm not going to do the whole thing. Basically, to throw a game versus Loyola, just hysterical. Loyola was like up there in the 50s for college basketball, within the point spread of 10. So while trying to keep the score close, they accidentally lost to Loyola. So basically, they were just supposed to keep it within 10-point spread, and then they ended up accidentally losing the game, which meant that they lost the bet anyway. It's like a whole mess. The point shaving scandals of like the 50s and 60s are very, very interesting, so you should definitely check those out. Those are interesting. And then we have a Hall of Shame. Most career arrest all time, Derrick Coleman. Youngest player, Jermaine O'Neal. Youngest player ever arrested twice, Desean Stevenson. Bernard King is killing the game, dude. He really was. Greatest span of arrests, Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was out here, dude. Jason Kidd loves to get DUIs. He loves nothing more than to get DUIs and do domestic abuse, apparently. He likes to do that too. Just 3 days after Kidd's introductory press conference welcoming him to the Knicks, he continued to celebrate by driving drunk in Long Island, which is just the whitest sentence of all time, dude. Like, Long Island, you couldn't even do that in, like, anywhere else. It had to be Long Island. My God. Look, I highly recommend that you go through this website. It is a super fun time. There is a lot of fun to be had. I did not even know a vast majority of like these players got arrested, period, and what they got arrested for. There's some surprising names on here for sure. Like Carlos Arroyo was shocking to me. I did not expect it. And then there's like a couple solicitation of prostitution from Andre Blatch in 2007, which like you did not expect to see that, where he tried to solicit sexual favors from a female undercover police officer. What James Worthy had one in 1992. They covered that shit the fuck up. I had no idea about that. This was in Houston. Worthy contacted escort service and requested the services of a local prostitute. Unfortunately for him, the escort service was monitored by undercover police officers. Whack, dude. Whack. My man was just trying to provide, dude. It's not cool. But as always, have a good day. For real, check this website out. It's a good time.